there, I'll make it. Anywhere, it's up to you, New York, New York.
How we doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I am your host, Richie. As you can see by my avatar, Daniel Indiana Jones, that is definitely the image of yesterday's NFL Sunday, getting bloodied up, but not enough to stop him from taking the Colts to an AFC best record after Week 10. We've got the Patriots and Bucs in a very good interconference matchup that went down yesterday. We're going to speak on that as well. A little bit of a shock for Bills Nation, seeing the ways things worked out in South Florida. And both LA teams that reside in SoFi getting very convincing victories yesterday. And we're going to start this up in the AFC East. Patriots get big road win in Tampa and expand their lead in the division. The Bills get blown out in Miami, Jets and Browns in a battle of top draft pick hopefuls. We're starting this in Tampa. New England Patriots just continue to show this road resolve that makes them the best road team in professional football. They are undefeated on the road. Both their losses occurred earlier in the year, where they were off to a little bit of a slow start figuring themselves out. Trevion Henderson, the rookie, biggest game in his young professional career as he ran wild. He ran wild in the home of Hulkamania. Drake May, with the exception of one interception that was very avoidable inside Tampa's red zone, really just played a terrific game through and through. And the Patriots defense, while they are the middle in the pack in the NFL against the pass, gave up some plays, but definitely tightened up inside the red zone. And they were able to limit the Tampa offense when it mattered most. Gotta feel good if you are indeed a New England Patriots fan, as by virtue of Buffalo's loss in Miami, they currently have a game-and-a-half lead in the AFC East, and I don't think too many people had on their bingo cards Mike Vrabel's first year in New England as head coach, the Patriots being this successful. And I'll tell you the truth. I said it to a friend of the show, Brett Bandick, who is our resident Patriots fan. The reason why the Patriots are enjoying this much success this year is simple. They do a lot of the little things correctly. For the most part, they take care of the football. They play stingy defense. They have a very solid kicking game. Their special teams is good enough. And one thing that I like about what Coach Mike Vrabel has brought back to Gillette Stadium is accountability. This is the best Patriots team that they have had since their most recent Super Bowl run. This is a team that is not afraid to go on the road and win. This is a team that hypothetically may only have to win one road game in the playoffs to make the Super Bowl. They might even get home field advantages. There's a lot to still be decided. As the Bucs go, valiant effort in defeat. They are, of course, missing their best receiver, Mike Evans. They are missing their best running back as well, Bucky Irving. Buccaneers are a very scrappy bunch. I think that they're going to be able to overcome this loss and still probably win this division. But definitely provided with a really good interconference game, as previously, last time these two teams played was Tom Brady's return to Gillette. In that game, the Buccaneers were able to win by virtue of a missed field goal at the end of the game by the Patriots. This time around, Patriots turned things around. But Trevion Henderson definitely making a case to be the best running back of this rookie class. I do think that New York Giants fallen rookie Cam Scatterbo was leading the way for a while prior to his unfortunate injury in Philadelphia. But definitely a good victory for the New England Patriots as they improve to 8-2 on the season, and they have a short week as they get ready to take on their forever rivals, the New York Jets. And speaking of those Jets, they get a W against one of the lowly teams in the league. They're both lowly for that matter. 27-20 victory in MetLife Stadium over the Cleveland Browns. And I say to myself, when two teams play each other that are buried on the bottom of the league, what is the value of winning? Well, for the Jets, it's team morale. The Jets made some huge moves over the course of the trade deadline as they have maximized their potential to get some top draft picks, something that they're going to need to rebuild this organization as they recently traded Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts. It is a full rebuild for Gang Green in the AFC East. But whenever you could win in this league, it's always something to feel good about. Cleveland Browns, I got to say, it's only a matter of time until Shedeur Sanders gets a look, because going into the 26th season, you want to be able to identify, well, who's going to be your man moving forward, as they have rookie control of both quarterback Dylan Gabriel as well as Shedeur Sanders. And you still have to figure out, if you're running things in Cleveland, how do you navigate that mammoth Deshaun Watson contract? But the Jets on a 2-game winning streak. We will see if they can continue that. One thing about divisional games, regardless of the fact that we all know the Patriots are a better team, you can never go into these games or take anything lightly, because on a short week, anything could happen. So the Patriots have to come with the same intensity and not think that they got one in the bag playing their division rivals. But knowing Mike Vrabel, he will not let his team come into any situation unprepared. Speaking of a team who did look very unready and forgot that a game was yesterday, Buffalo Bills getting smoked out by the Miami Dolphins, 30-13. This is a Buffalo team that already has lost to New England head up. So by virtue of that, the Patriots are in a position to possibly sweep them. Only person that I know about that even seriously thought that the Patriots could sweep the Buffalo Bills is our guy, Brett Bandick. And he may be onto something. But what I find the most disconcerting about Buffalo's loss yesterday, where is their run defense? Devin Achane went berserk on these guys, Madden mode. Josh Allen, after pushing the pile on something that looked really impressive, coughs up the football. He throws a touchdown in the red zone trying to score, and just a game to forget. And this is a Buffalo team that was coming off a win against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, you know, a lot of people have been talking about Mike McDaniel's departure. But one thing I got to say is every time that the talking heads are bringing to light that McDaniel might get fired, the Dolphins turn around and win a football game. So for whatever that's worth, they are playing for their coach right now. Buffalo, game and a half behind New England right now, and definitely got to be a lot of questions and uncertainties in Western New York, as this is a team that I think most people expect that at least for one more year would hold off the New England Patriots and be right in the thick of the Super Bowl picture. I did pick the Buffalo Bills to win the East and go to the AFC title game in the preseason. But what I'm seeing through 10 weeks, New England is a better team and New England has better balance. A lot of football left to be played, but it seems like the same narrative keeps going on in Buffalo. It's always going to be all on Josh Allen. And the truth of the matter is, it's becoming a little too much to carry. I don't know if possibly if the Bills fall short again, given that the Chiefs are a little more vulnerable than they've been in previous years. If you got to look at the head coach, is it time to make a change there? Does Sean McDermott get replaced? But definitely disappointed if you're a Buffalo Bills fan. AFC North in prime time, Chargers shut down the Pittsburgh Steelers to the tune of a 25-10 win. Kamani Vidal, the backup for Omari and Hampton, has had a weird ratio since taking over the running back duties for the Chargers. He's either a stud or a dud. Yesterday, he was a stud, big time game. This is a team that consistently was able to put heat on Aaron Rodgers, who at this stage of his career is just not that mobile. And the Steeler defense, after having an uplifting victory against the guy in my picture, Daniel Jones, and the Indianapolis Colts, definitely struggled against the run yesterday as the Chargers were pushing them around. And Justin Herbert continues to play at a high level. This is the most consistent version of Justin Herbert that I have seen since his rookie campaign when he won Rookie of the Year. Jim Harbaugh definitely enjoying his time right now with this Chargers team. And with Khalil Mack being reactivated and with this defense playing at a high level, this is definitely a team, one of three, that has a chance to win the AFC West. As the Pittsburgh Steelers go, you have to be a little concerned. Baltimore recently got Lamar Jackson back. The Steelers are now at 500, and you just kind of get that feeling that the Ravens are lying in the weeds and they're going to be coming for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As the Ravens get a quality victory on the road, Mark Andrews heavily involved in yesterday's game. There was a play where Lamar Jackson was lined up at running back. A good football win, a good win. Minnesota's not an easy place to go on the road and get a dub. And take into consideration that these are the same Vikings that just beat the Detroit Lions the previous week. This season particularly just goes to show you the parity in the league and how it really is a week-to-week league. But big victory for the Baltimore Ravens as they are closing in on the division lead. They have yet to play the Steelers this year. Most people recognize that as the best rivalry in today's NFL. But the Ravens definitely trending upward, whereas the Steelers seem to be going backward. Joe Burrow not that far away from potentially returning to the Cincinnati Bengals as they were on the bye week. Joe Flacco has filled in admirably, but it doesn't matter if it's Burrow. It doesn't matter if it's Flacco. This team's defense has let them down time and time again after masterful quarterback performances from Flacco this year and Burrow before him. I already alluded to the fact that the Browns lose again, not much to see here. We're going to move it over to the AFC West. Chiefs on the bye. Broncos win low-scoring affair, backing it up to Thursday against the Las Vegas Raiders. A 10-7 victory, and definitely a frustrating game for the bettors and the fantasy football heads as RJ Harvey, just really a quiet game, 9 total yards. Really a shocking game when you consider that Denver's offense in previous weeks has been opening it up. But the only thing that matters is getting the dub, and that is what the Broncos were able to do. Chargers bolting up, as I already alluded to. The Los Angeles Chargers, this is the most complete I've seen them, as I already explained in their victory over the Steelers. Moving it along to the AFC South, Texans go on 26-0 fourth quarter run to shock the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'll be honest, this is the kind of game where I don't necessarily know how the Jaguars are going to be able to emotionally recover from this. Tennessee Titans, who currently hold the #1 seed for the NFL draft, they're on a bye. And Daniel Indiana Jones does it overseas. It's crazy. Being a Giant fan, I have seen so much of Daniel Jones' career. And very rarely would I tell anybody with a straight face that I believe that this guy had the credentials, the tools, the makeup, when you're down a score late in the game, especially on a neutral site, to take a team down the field and win the game. Now, of course, we saw that in 22 in a classic victory against the Green Bay Packers. But the point to be made is that it's been a hot minute since Daniel Jones has showed that sturdiness as a quarterback. Down late against an Atlanta Falcon team who was ready to play, Colts avoid their first losing streak of the season as they were able to go straight down the field and take care of business. This is not the same Daniel Jones as he has enjoyed the coaching structure of Shane Steichen, a very similar offense to what they ran in Duke. And I said it before, I'll say it again. As a professional, the most sturdiness of coaching that played to Daniel Jones's strength was his rookie campaign with the Giants when Pat Shermer was still the head coach. This Colts team's for real. Jonathan Taylor becomes the all-time leading touchdown getter for running backs in Colts history as he jumps Edgerrin James. And the Colts, similar to the New England Patriots, seem to be the most consistent teams in the AFC right now. And this is the first time in recent memory, or pretty much in any memory, where the Colts and the Patriots are clicking on all cylinders in an era that doesn't include Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, as year in and year out, Brady and Manning was always must-see TV, and Colts and Patriots was always must-see TV. Now you have Drake May and Daniel Jones. You have North Carolina and Duke leading these two iconic franchises. And nobody, and I mean nobody, would have had that filled out in any way, shape, or form to think that these were going to be the two best teams in the American Football Conference at this juncture of the year. The Colts have passed the test. They get hit with a bad game, 5 turnovers, they turn around, they get a dub overseas. A tough thing to do after you lose on the road, go overseas and get a dub, and that's exactly what they've done. The Indianapolis Colts have answered the bell every time they faced adversity this year. This guy, Daniel Jones, is proving that it wasn't just him in New York. We're going to talk about Brian Dable in a little bit here on the show. But I will say this. Every time Daniel Jones wins, every time Daniel Jones continues to put himself in the category of one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL in the year 2025, Brian Dable looks bad. And speaking of Brian Dable, finding yet another way to lose as the New York Football Giants, for the 4th time this year, blow a 2-score lead in the 4th quarter. Hard to be a playoff team or a team with a winning record or a team with functionality when that keeps happening. Once again, questionable coaching decisions. Early in the game, Brian Dable chooses not to take 3 points in what ultimately came down to a jump ball situation. Fast forward later in the game, goal-to-go situation for the Giants. A situation where the Giants really could have stepped on the Bears' necks and put it out of reach, and Brian Dable chooses to go for 3. So instead of getting a 14-point lead, a 10-point lead. Jackson Dart was concussed in this game. It's definitely a concern for Giant fans moving forward, as Dart has been one of the lone bright spots in this year's Giants campaign, but unfortunately just takes too many hits. The defense led by Shane Bowen, yet again, no answers, as nobody accounted for Caleb Williams. Brian Burns definitely over-pursued. Caleb Williams took it to the house, but oddly enough, Brian Burns was still the closest man to tackling him as he chased him down the sideline. Whereas you're seeing minimal effort from a defense, and it starts to make you wonder if, as a unit, they just start hearing the whispers, they start getting in their own heads, and they're saying, here we go again. But definitely a disconcerting game, as the Giants all game brought heat on Caleb Williams, but could not get him down. Brian Burns stays at 11 sacks, which leads the NFL going into the week that was just played. Dallas Cowboys on the bye as they navigate past tragedy. Definitely a tough week for the Dallas Cowboys as Marshawn Breeland passed away. Just a very sad situation. Prayers out to his family. Donald Trump making the headlines this week, talking about an interest in potentially the new Commander Stadium taking his name. That is interesting. Very interesting, particularly when a person is still alive. But the Lions stomp out the Commanders in front of the commander in chief, putting up a 40 burger en route to a huge victory as Marcus Mariota had nothing to offer for the Commanders, predominantly garbage time points. And the Detroit Lions get back in the win column after a disappointing home loss last week to the Vikings. Tonight, the Green Bay Packers will be hosting the world champion Philadelphia Eagles. Green Bay staring down a potential two-game losing streak at home, so most definitely a big time game in a prime time setting. Philadelphia Eagles, after the bye week, have been clicking as an offense. Defense has been steadily improving after a couple of miscues during their short losing streak. And this game holds serious playoff ramifications, as this is the third time these two teams have played since the opener last season in Brazil, Philadelphia winning both those games. I would have to say keys to victory for the Eagles. You want to try to get Saquon Barkley going early and often to see if he can bust a big one against the Green Bay front seven. And I don't think the key to victory is that you want Jalen Hurts chucking the ball too often. Green Bay has had a consistent defense all year long. Their offense has been sporadic. And what I mean by sporadic is you just never know what Jordan Love is going to show up. I will say this, I trust Jalen Hurts a little more than Jordan Love. And for that reason, I am picking the Eagles to get the win in Lambeau on the road. Give me the Eagles 30. Give me the Packers 24. I think it's going to be a pretty entertaining game. I, of course, will be rooting for the Packers. My late father, diehard Packer fan, and I just hate the Philadelphia Eagles. NFC West, the Seahawks destroy the Cardinals. This game was 35-0 in the second quarter, as the Seahawks, another team that a lot of people did not see ascending this quickly, do what they do. They apply heat on the quarterback. They run the rock at a high efficient level. Sam Darnold really enjoying having Jackson Smith and Jigba as his number one receiver, as he is having a blow up kind of season. Part of the reason the team felt comfortable moving on from DK Metcalf. And the Rams, huge victory over the 49ers in a revenge game earlier in the year. Sean McVay chose to try to put it away by keeping it on the ground as opposed to tying it. He wanted the 6. 49ers came up with a stand, but right now the 49ers just missing too much talent. It's been very admirable what they've been able to do. But when I look at the remaining schedule, it's going to be hard for the 49ers to qualify for the playoffs. This could be the last start of Mac Jones, as we'll see if Brock Purdy finally returns. But the reality of the situation is the San Francisco 49ers just could not stop Matthew Stafford as he was in a bona fide zone yesterday. Really a quality victory for these Rams, as right now I see the Rams as the best team in the NFC. Back to the Seahawks game for a second. DeMarcus Lawrence does something that almost never happens. 2 fumble recoveries to the house, 4 touchdowns as the former Dallas Cowboy, making some history for the Seattle Seahawks. NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I talked about this at the top of the show, losing a close game to the New England Patriots. I still think the Buccaneers are in prime position to win this division. Yesterday, the Carolina Panthers. We had a New Orleans Saints fan, shout out Bucs. Good time having him on the show. He expected a blowout. I told him that the Saints were going to give the Panthers everything that they could handle. We both picked the Panthers to win. But this is a huge loss for the Carolina Panthers as they try to navigate through success. It's been a long time since the Carolina Panthers have been good. But losing to the lowly Saints, I get it, it's a division game, definitely a blow to their division championship hopes as they failed to cash in on an opportunity to grab a game on the division leading Buccaneers. And of course, I already alluded to the fact that the Falcons lost overseas to Indiana Jones and his Colts. Before I get out of here, I do want to speak on a legend that the football world lost yesterday. Paul Tagliabue's legacy. Paul Tagliabue started as a lawyer for the NFL. Ultimately, he became the commissioner of the league, replacing the legendary Pete Rozelle. Couple of things off the rip. Oh, we have breaking news. The New York Giants have fired head coach Brian Dable. Woohoo! Kind of knew it was coming, guys. Kind of knew it was coming. Brian Dable has been fired. Back to Mr. Tagliabue, and then I'm going to speak on all the wrongs of the Brian Dable era. Paul Tagliabue, something I always appreciated about him is that I feel that he had a very real ear to the people that love the NFL. During the horrid events of Hurricane Katrina that went down in New Orleans, he fought and fought and fought the Saints owner to make sure that that organization would not be taken out of New Orleans, as he saw that organization as a big part of the recovery for the morale of the people. One of the more beautiful things that I seen in the NFL as a fan was when the Superdome was ultimately reopened. Katrina, definitely a fail on many aspects of government and how to help the people during mass tragedy, mass just natural disaster. Having said all of that, very involved with making sure the Saints didn't leave town. The NFL expanded to 32 from 28 during the Paul Tagliabue regime. Of course, the Houston Texans. He worked with the Cleveland Browns to protect them from losing their franchise completely, as the first time they had a bid to return to the NFL after the original Browns became the Baltimore Ravens. That was successful. Jacksonville Jaguars come into the league. Carolina Panthers, same year as them as well. So expansion, definitely a thing with him. NFL Europe was a thing. The World Football League was a thing. I think one of the things that Paul Tagliabue succeeded as being NFL commissioner is that he helped make the game more global to our neighbors in Europe, things of that nature. Paul Tagliabue also stood up hardcore against Arizona for not honoring Martin Luther King Day. I think Paul Tagliabue, as I alluded to, had an ear to the people, had a heart for the people. If there's one thing that I will criticize his regime on, is that I feel Paul Tagliabue was a little, what's the right word? Just a little disconnected with the reality that CTE and football had a legitimate connection. No one is perfect, but Paul Tagliabue in that regard, I do believe, failed to a level. One of the better commissioners in the NFL, make no mistake about it. I speak for everyone here that contributes to my show that we wish the best sympathies as his family tries to navigate with a huge loss. A life well lived, Commissioner Tagliabue. All right, as it came across my screen via ESPN, Brian Dable of the New York Football Giants, head coach since 2022. He won head coach of the year. He has been fired. This is huge news, absolutely huge news. To put it bluntly, and I have been clamoring for this for years when it comes to the New York Football Giants, I am tired of getting hot coordinators. I want proven guys when it comes to the future of the football team. Of course, a person like a Mike Vrabel, who ultimately ended up in New England, I wanted him. I have a couple of suggestions for guys that could make sense for the Giants. If the GM hat is not included, a $1 million buyout from the University of North Carolina could bring Bill Belichick back to his original home in the NFL, East Rutherford, New Jersey, as he served as a defensive coordinator under the legendary Bill Parcells, helping the Giants win Super Bowls 21 and 25. For the crowd that feels like Belichick might be a little too old and the game has passed him by, another name that comes to mind, John Gruden. Many noticed the connection and just the ever-flowing love that he and quarterback Jackson Dart had for each other. Could potentially John Gruden be a candidate? Cliff Kingsbury's name has been connected to the New York Giants as well. But truth be told, Brian Dable has definitely lost his way as a head coach. And while I think some guys are meant to be coordinators, it has been proven for the better part of 3 seasons that he was not the answer. And it is very rare that the New York Giants fire a coach in the middle of the season, but that is exactly what happened here. Last time this occurred, Ben McAdoo in 2017, on the heels of really upsetting the fan base, unceremoniously benching New York Giants legend Eli Manning and breaking up, at the time, the second most consecutive games started at the quarterback position, as at that time, Eli did actually have a chance to catch the legendary Brett Favre. It lasted for 1 week. The New York Giant fans spoke. You had a Goodyear blimp over MetLife Stadium, just with all kinds of verbiage about their disgust. I recall there being a huge billboard saying "Big Blue, shame on you." The people spoke, the people got behind Eli Manning, and it was just a very sloppy situation through and through. Um, I got to get to some reading. Brian Dable out in New York. I don't like anybody to have their livelihood played with, but as an avid New York Giants fan since the 1990 season, this was long overdue. Shane Bowen shouldn't be on this team anymore either. But I'm going to look into a little more reading, find out what the interim situation looks like. Mike Kafka has been named interim head coach as I am looking at Good Morning Football on the tube. Ever moving situation, and I may be doing another show to talk about my favorite football team. Until next time, I am Richie. Announcements to come for our next show. Have a great day, everyone.